Zhang Yimou's 2002 film Hero is it's an absolute feast for the eyes, a masterpiece of spectacle. But if you only see the spectacle, you're kind of missing the whole point. So today, let's peel back those layers, look past the amazing swordplay, and really dig into the story, the color, and the philosophy that make this film a true landmark of cinema. And this is the question that sits right at the very heart of the film. It starts you off with one story, one version of the truth, but it immediately makes you ask, whose truth are we actually hearing? So the setup seems pretty straightforward. We're in ancient China during the Warring States period. An assassin, who we only know as Nameless, gets an audience with the King of Qin, the most powerful and definitely the most feared man in the entire land. I mean, just imagine the tension in that room. You could cut it with a knife. Okay, so this is where the mind games really kick off. See, to even be in the same room as the king, Nameless has to prove he's not a threat. And the proof he offers, well, it's one heck of a story. It's his opening move in a high-stakes match of wits. Nameless claims something pretty much impossible, that he, all by himself, defeated the three assassins the king fears the most: Sky, Flying Snow, and Broken Sword. Now, these aren't just your average thugs. They are legends, masters of their craft. It's a completely unbelievable claim, and the king, just like us, is totally hooked. But here's the twist. The king, he isn't buying it, not for a second. This is a guy who survived countless assassination attempts. He's a master strategist, and he smells a rat. And this is the exact moment where the film's brilliant structure just clicks into place. The story we've just been told, it might be a total lie. So how in the world does the movie guide us through all these different, conflicting versions of reality? Well, it doesn't just use words, it uses one of the most powerful tools in filmmaking. It tells its story in color. Every single version of the story, Nameless's boastful tale, the king's sharp, logical takedown of it, and what might be the real truth, each one is absolutely drenched in its own specific color. And this isn't just a cool stylistic choice, you know? It's the secret language the film is using to show us perspective, emotion, and deception. This color code is basically our roadmap. When Nameless tells his version, the screen is flooded with red, a story fueled by passion, love, and jealousy. Then blue cools everything down for the king's cold, logical counter-narrative. White strips everything bare, revealing what might be the stark, simple truth. And green takes us into memory, into a place of peace. It's a brilliant, brilliant way to navigate the film's complicated soul. By weaving all of these color-coded stories together, the movie becomes way more than just an assassination plot. It's asking a much, much bigger question, really, about history itself. How can we ever know what's true when every story changes depending on who's telling it? But the how of this story is every bit as important as the what. Hero isn't just some clever puzzle box. It's a masterpiece of visual poetry. The film turns every single fight into a true art of war. And to really get Hero, you gotta understand its genre, wuxia. This isn't about brute force and just beating people up. Wuxia heroes live by a code of honor, and for them, martial arts are an expression of their inner philosophy. And you can see these pillars of artistry in literally every scene. The fight choreography is less like a brawl and more like a symbolic ballet. The art of calligraphy becomes just as deadly as a sword. And all of it is lifted up by Tan Dun's incredible musical score and cinematography that is just absolutely breathtaking. I mean, just take the very first duel. They barely even touch each other. It's a fight that happens almost entirely in their minds, a chess match between two masters. It tells us right away that in this world, the mind is the most powerful weapon you have. And then you have the calligraphy. Broken Sword teaches that the same principles you use to create a perfect character with a brush are the same ones you use to master the sword. It sounds a little out there, right? But the idea is that both require discipline, focus, and a deep understanding of harmony. So all of this, the shifting stories, the incredible artistry, the colors, it's all building and building towards one central question, the one right there in the title. What truly makes someone a hero? 3 words. That's it. Spoken by the assassin, Broken Sword. But these 3 words, they are the philosophical heart of the entire film. They change absolutely everything. So what does all under heaven actually mean? Well, it's this idea that the suffering of millions of people during this chaotic period of war, that's a much greater tragedy than any one person's quest for revenge. Broken Sword argues that only a unified China under one leader can finally end all the chaos. And this right here is the film's core moral dilemma. On one side, you have this deeply personal and, let's be honest, completely justified desire for revenge against a tyrant. But on the other, you have this bigger, more abstract idea of the greater good, the idea that one man's brutal conquest could end centuries of war. This forces us to ask a really tough question. Is a hero the person who kills a tyrant because it's the right thing to do? Or is a hero the person who spares that tyrant to save millions of lives? The film argues for a much more complex and, frankly, a much more painful definition of heroism. So it's really no surprise that a film with such huge ideas and just jaw-dropping execution left a permanent mark on world cinema. It created a powerful, lasting legacy. I mean, just look at the resume. An Oscar nomination, a Golden Globe nomination. That brought it to everyone's attention. But its real impact was showing the entire world the artistic and philosophical heights the wuxia genre could reach. Hero fundamentally changed how people saw martial arts films. It proved that a movie could be a visual stunner, a narrative puzzle, and thematically deep all at the same time. It basically kicked the door open for a new kind of art house action cinema. And it all comes back to our guy, Nameless. Standing there in front of the king, armed with Broken Sword's powerful new philosophy, he has to make a choice. A choice that won't just decide his own fate, but the fate of an entire nation. And this leaves us with the film's most haunting and maybe most important question. The King of Qin is a ruthless conqueror, there's no doubt about it, but his actions do eventually lead to a unified China. The film doesn't give you an easy answer, and that's the point. It forces us to wonder if the path to peace sometimes demands a truly terrible price.